the RealmShaper Chronicles, The Judgment of the Worlds by Nafis Garrett, Book 1. Love Beyond Gods, a Love That Should Not Be, Chapter 1. The realm between realms was a place untouched by mortal hands. It was a domain where time ebbed and flowed like the tide, where the stars whispered to the earth and the rivers sang in forgotten tongues. It was here, beneath a sky that stretched beyond eternity, that two gods met in defiance of the laws that bound them. Mother Nature stood alone beneath the celestial willow, the wind curling around her like an embrace. She had come here 1,000 times before, but tonight was different. Mother Nature stood alone beneath the celestial willow, the wind curling around her like an embrace. She had come here 1,000 times before, but tonight was different. Tonight, she carried a truth too great to ignore. The trees bowed slightly as she passed, their ancient wisdom pressing against her senses. They knew, the very earth beneath her feet knew, something had been set into motion, something that could not be undone. She reached the water's edge and waited. The lake stretched before her, its surface impossibly still, mirroring the sky above. Then slowly, the water began to ripple, not from the wind, not from any other earthly force, but from something deeper, something divine. A figure emerged, rising from the depths with effortless grace. The water god's presence was as fluid as the rivers he commanded, his form shifting like liquid silver beneath the moonlight. "You're late," she said, though there was no accusation in her voice. He did not answer at first, his eyes, deep and fathomless as the ocean itself, studied her. The silence between them was heavy, filled with things left unsaid. "I almost didn't come," he admitted at last. Mother Nature's fingers curled slightly, her breath catching for just a moment. "Why?" "You know why." She held his gaze unflinching. "Say it." His jaw tightened. "Because what we are doing cannot be undone." A pause, then softer. "Because I fear what we have already begun." The words should have wounded her, but they did not. Instead, they only confirmed what she already knew. "You fear the judgment of the Pantheon," she said. "I fear the destruction of what we have built." His voice was steady, but there was still something beneath it, something raw, something human. "I fear losing you." She stepped closer, the space between them narrowing. "Then do not let them take me." The water rippled at his feet, responding to the storm within him. "You speak as if it were that simple." "It is. Love has never been simple for our kind. And yet," she whispered, brushing her fingers against his, "we are here." A tremor passed through him at her touch. He had spent lifetimes controlling the rivers, bending the seas to his will, but he had never felt powerless until now. She was right. The laws of the gods were unyielding, and yet here they stood, breaking them. "I have never known regret," he murmured. Mother Nature smiled, though there was a sense of sadness in it. "Then let us not regret this." And so, beneath the willow's silent watch, they let the world fall away. The space they occupied existed outside of time, yet time was shifting around them. The stars above, though distant, flickered with recognition, bending ever so slightly toward the lovers who had defied celestial order. The wind curled tighter around them, as if committing this moment to memory, threading it into the fabric of existence itself. Far beyond the unseen boundaries of this realm, the Pantheon stirred. An unseen ripple had disrupted the great balance of the heavens. It began as a whisper upon the lips of forgotten spirits, an unspoken truth sensed by the eldest among the divine. The waters of creation, once still, trembled with the weight of something unaccounted for. The weavers of fate, whose fingers never ceased their delicate work, hesitated for the first time in eternity. Before her stretched an endless tapestry of existence. Yet, she could see a place where no thread had been woven, where something had slipped beyond her careful design. The high star sovereign, an entity older than light itself, gazed into the vastness and saw this disturbance. The celestial balance had shifted, though the cause remained hidden from all their seeing eyes. A force had been set into motion, one beyond the direct understanding, that made the gods uneasy. Back beneath the willow tree, where mortal and divine had no claim, the wind stirred, carrying the weight of the water god's hesitation. He could feel it, the pull of responsibility pressing against his form like the tide against the shore. His duty had always been to move forward, to carve new paths, to reshape the land with his endless currents. But this was something beyond even his vast reach. It was not destruction or renewal, but something else entirely. Creation in its purest, most unpredictable form. Mother Nature, too, felt the change in the air, the way the world held its breath in the wake of their choice. She had always understood the language of the land, of the trees, of the rivers that whispered their song through the ages, and now they were singing something new. Not a warning, not a diverge, not something that had never been sung before. And now they were singing something new. Not a warning, not a dirge, but something that had never been sung before. She took his hand, his fingers strong, unyielding. If you leave now, the choice will not be yours to make. His grip tightened around hers. And if I stay? She let out a slow breath, eyes lifting to meet his. Then we choose our fate. There was a finality in her words, and yet a beginning as well. He saw in her eyes the reflection of the world as it could be, not bound by the laws that had followed for eternity, but by something more, something fragile, something enduring. Love, untamed and reckless, yet unpredictable. Something fragile, something enduring. Love, untamed and reckless, yet unbreakable. A drop of water, unnoticed by either of them, slipped from his fingertips and touched the earth below. The ground absorbed it in silence, but far away, a new river would one day form where none had existed before. The Pantheon had yet to see the full scope of what had transpired, but the moment would come. For now, the gods in their distant halls only sensed a shift, a whisper carried by the winds of the cosmos. But soon they would look, soon they would know, and when they did, the world would never be the same.